Hey guys, this is going to be a different vehicle. Hey guys, this is going to be a different video, not a ordinary music history video. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about me and how I came to this point in my life to be able to share my passion with music, or want to share my passion of music with people. So, um, this is unscripted. I didn't write a script for it. It's just me laying it out there. So it all started. The earliest I can remember is when I was in second grade. I had a little orange record player. Oh my God. My dad had so many albums, and I would just spin them. I mean, BTO, the Eagles, Moody Blues, CCR, all the good stuff. Led Zeppelin. My dad was he was a hippie. He was he loved to listen to hippie music and also smoke the herb. But um, I started off like that. Also with the 8-track player in the living room. I remember Kiss Destroyer, Cheap Trick, all those guys. Also Steve Martin's comedy 8-track. I'd wear the tape out on that. So um, that's when it started. I got the bug then, and from then on it just progressed. I would listen to the radio, and I would imitate people on the radio, um, and always wanted to be on the radio. And that never really went away. I just didn't have a vehicle on how to do it. I thought you had to go to college forever to be a radio DJ, or even be considered, that kind of person. Anyway, um, growing up through my teenage years, my love for music just continued to blossom, and I got into the more harder stuff, like Ozzy, Metallica, um, all the hair bands. When I did that, my parents, they were less rock and roll and more country, because the country started to get more jazzed up, man, and so it sounded more not like crying in your beer kind of stuff. Nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, I love Hank Williams Sr. and all the outlaw music, Merle Haggard, all those guys. I can listen to those guys with the best of them. But my orientation, my love, my passion is rock. And it doesn't have to be hard rock either. As you can tell by some of my music history posts, I'll explore it all. I am not, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't discriminate against rock songs. Yeah. Like I've been, um, I've been a music buff from way back. So let's fast forward to 1994, December of 1994. My dad passes away. He was only 48 years old. He died of a heart attack. And something echoed in my mind. My dad saw my passion for music, and he saw that I just loved to talk, and had this personality, that just was everywhere. And I don't know, it was, I want to say 92, 93, because I really had no direction in life. I didn't. I had no direction whatsoever. I had no idea what I was going to do. And my dad, trying to help me, he said, you should be a radio DJ. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin to be able to put in an application for something like that, because I figured you had to have like all these years of school and all that. And so I took a job. My dad died in 94, and I took a job January or February of 95. and um, I helped start a department store. It was called Stages. It's like, up to, it's like really good to do clothing kind of thing. And I was only there to help get it started, build it up, you know, set all the fixtures and all that stuff. And somehow or another, they really liked my personality, and so they kept me as a salesperson for men's clothing there. And so the grand opening starts, and a radio station comes there to do a live broadcast because, well, it's a grand opening. So I start talking to him about my little orange record player that I had in the second grade. And I said, I always wanted to be a radio DJ. And he tells me, I kid you not, he tells me to come out and fill out an application. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, he's probably just telling me that to just, get rid of me. Because he's probably heard it a million times, right? But guess what? I take a chance a couple weeks later, and I just try it. I go put in an application. And he calls me up. And he says, hey, do you have anything on tape? And I'm like confused. Tape? What the hell do you mean tape? I don't have anything on tape, And he goes, well, come down here and put some stuff on tape, and we'll see where we can go. So he gives me some news articles to read, right? And I'm reading through these news articles before I actually press record, just kind of orientate myself. I didn't know at the time that's what you're supposed to do. I just did it. And so I was starting to read it, and I go, a lot of this doesn't make sense. Let me change this thing, and let me change that, and da-da-da-da-da, right? To make it more readable for me, but without losing the context of the story. So I read I don't know, it was 2 or 3 news articles that I read. I know one of them was from St. Louis. That's really all I remember from it. But we listened to it together, and I'm embarrassed, man. Because hearing myself on air, and or not on tape, I was very embarrassed. I was very shy about it. And he asked me point blank. He goes, "Have you ever had any creative writing?" And I looked at him. I go, "No, I don't." He said, "This is really good. I like how you've done this." And he offered me a job right then and there, working overnights on an adult contemporary station. Now, I did say that I don't discriminate against rock songs. I understand that. But overnight adult contemporary music is boring. It's absolutely boring. There's just so much Tony Braxton Unbreak My Heart that you can take, okay? But here's the thing. I became really good friends with the assistant program director, and he went to another radio group, and he called me up and asked me if I wanted my own morning show on a classic rock station. Well, hell yes, I want that. It was not as many hours, but it was better music and better hours, right? So I went and did that, and then it was a radio group. So I was doing classic rock in the mornings, and then they were asking me to do afternoons on the real rock station. So I had a couple things going, right? And I was growing, and it was coming along, And then I got married, and my wife wanted to be closer to her parents, and so I started looking at radio station. Excuse me. I started looking at radio stations down in that area, and I found one. I went in there and talked to the program director and applied, and it was between me and another dude. Well, here's where it's weird, man, because the program director wanted the other dude, but the owner wanted me. So, because I'm very personable, right? I'm just easy to get along with. And so, even though that guy had a better voice, he did. He really had a really good voice, very bassy, very boomy. I'm very like, hey, I'm like that, but it works for me. It just is. And so they hired me, and I worked there for a long time, doing the afternoon drive, and I loved it. Man, we did these things called rock block parties where we went to people's houses and broadcast live from there, and it was just so much fun, man. It was a good time, and we brought hair bands in, and well, I shouldn't say hair bands, right? I should say the Cat House era rock. I see. I'm not immune to it. I don't like the hair band description, but anyway, it was a lot of fun, man. Working for that station, it was a great time. And then then me and my wife got divorced. and so and so I went to another radio station in Cape Girardeau called KGMO. That's where Rush Limbaugh got his start, if you don't know. And not trying to be political here, I'm just saying that's where he got his start. Now I worked there. so uh, um, that was fun. It was a 100,000-watt classic rock station. We had this 80s on 8 where we played all the Cat House era rock, man. I fell in love with this band. The first time I ever heard them, South Gang. If you've never heard Tainted Love, really listen to that. I should probably do a deep dive on that song eventually because it's fantastic. So went there and worked for a while, and I have an aunt and uncle who live in Maryville, Missouri, and so they were wanting some help or whatever, and so I moved up there and started working for a station called 93.1 The Ville. And that was a fun station. I mean, not a whole lot of concerts going on or whatever, but it was fun. It was classic rock. It was a good time, And that was just a fantastic time to be alive, really. Trying to find my way again after being married and having 3 kids and all that, and just trying to find my way. And I did. And I worked at a few other radio stations, and then I had a tragic thing happen. I lost kind of all direction. I got really bad into alcohol, and it took everything, really. I wasn't in radio anymore. I lost the spark, and I thought that part of my life was done. Radio was done, so I needed to go do something else, right? And I became homeless. I did. I became homeless. It was a tragedy, but it was eye-opening. And here's the thing. I told you about that station that I worked for that we did all the rock block parties for and stuff. That program director that didn't want to hire me, he wanted to hire the other guy, but he was kind of forced to hire me. I was living in a homeless shelter, and they made us go to this church on Wednesday nights, I think, for a thing called Celebrate Recovery or whatever. And he was there. He was there. And it took him a minute to figure out who I was. And he goes, Joe Jr. That's what I went by on that station. And I go, yeah. And we sat down and we talked for the whole time. And he offered me a job right there, back in radio, because he was working for a country station. So, speaking of country, I did have my own morning show on a country station once in Piedmont, Missouri, a little podunk town, but it swells really big, man, when it's summertime because Clearwater Lake is there. It's funny. But I started doing country music with him and working overnights. And you know what? I was happy. I was happy to be there. I was happy to have a second chance at doing something that I love doing. And I worked on that station for 3 years, and I took a year off and started doing not DoorDash, but Walmart Spark and Amazon Flex, and I started doing all that stuff. And after a year, I talked to the program, or not the program director, but I talked to the operations manager. I said, hey, if a spot comes available full time again, I'd like to come back. And guess what? They did. They had a spot come open, and I was their first phone call, and they called me back. And you know what? I will never, ever forget what this company has done for me. Zimmer Broadcasting is an amazing company. I have an amazing boss. I have an amazing operations manager, which happens to be both the same person, by the way, right now. And the owner is fantastic. They have treated me with nothing but kindness, and they deserve all my loyalty, and I appreciate everything that they've ever done for me. And so I'm on a real rock station overnights, and I get to be me. I get to be Joey Morgan, and just the night shift ninja, by the way. And you are on the night shift when you're listening to me, man. And we have a good time. We talk about news articles. We talk about what's going on in rock. It's just a good time. And I started a memory collection on my wall, which what I mean by that is albums. Each album that I have on my wall is a memory that I've had. And I can tell you from each album what happened, why that's on my wall. And I'm not done yet. I have still a lot of wall space left. So that's what has led me to do this music history podcast, is the love of music and the love of the history of music. I've watched a lot of podcasters that do this thing, and I thought, man, I want to do that. I want to talk about what these songs mean to me. You have a lot of them. I mean, the Professor of Rock, he's fantastic, that guy. He's absolutely amazing. The thing about him, though, he'll do 3, 4, maybe 6, 7 songs, and I'm just doing one. So I concentrate on one song, and he does a different kind of history of the music, but it's still fantastic. And this guy, Audio Mover, I don't know if you know about him. Fantastic. He'll take articles like in Hit Parader or those kinds of magazines from back in the day, and he'll read those articles, and he'll put the album up there. So good. So talented. Yeah, I don't even hold a candle to those guys. They're so good. And so that's what's led me to music history with Joey, is my love for music and the history of music. And I want to share that passion with all of you. And I wanted to connect on another level. I want you to know where I came from. It hasn't always been it hasn't always been peaches and cream, man. No. I've had a hard road to get here, but I appreciate what I have. So anyway, that's going to do it. I just wanted to connect with you guys and throw out a video and let you guys know who I am. Anyway, peace.